If you work a lot with computers, you know how useful it can be to sometimes plug in a real display and keyboard and mouse to a computer to see what the heck's going on. So that is what this guy helps you with. This is the Sipeed NanoKVM USB. So unlike its big brother, the NanoKVM IP versions, which are remote access products to access a computer remotely, this guy is a physical access product. We plug it in to the display output and the USB port, and now we can access the computer's terminal, the screen, keyboard, mouse, etc., from another computer like our laptop here, the host. So this guy is a pretty cheap option compared to some of its competitors. The feature set is also pretty minimal, but if it can do everything that's expected of it for that price point, I'm sure it'll make a lot of people happy. So if you guys want to see what the NanoKVM USB is all about, then come along on this adventure. Also, quick disclosure, Sipeed sent me 2 of these units. One of them is labeled Pro, the other one is not. Just these 2 units, nothing else. I asked them if they'd provide a review sample for a review, which they did, free of charge. So no money changed hands. They won't see the review until you do. Like all of my other product reviews, this is not sponsored. I just asked them to send me one to review. So come along. So I guess it's time to take a look what we got in the box. So they sent me a regular unit and also a sample of the upcoming Pro version. That one isn't exactly public yet, but I have one. So in the box here, let's see what we got. So pretty nice packaging experience. So you've got the unit itself, which just pulls out here, and just paper. So as for the unit itself, so we have the target side, the host side. So on the target side, we have an HDMI and a USB Type-C. On the host side, we have an HDMI and a USB Type-C. On the back, we have a USB Type-A, and then this switch switches that Type-A between target and host. So I got the setup here. Here's my victim, GMK Tech Core i9 mini PC, pretty standard stuff. It's running Windows today, so we're going to test with Windows. Now, this guy didn't come with any cables, so that is a consideration if you're buying one of these. You do have to provide your own cables. So here's a set of cables that came with my open interface. It's got a short 1-foot HDMI and a short Type-C to Type-A with a Type-C adapter built in. This is for the victim. Now since this guy is USB 3, we need a USB 3 cable on the host side. This is going to provide our video and our control signals. The HDMI on the host side is just a pass-through, so if you want to hook it up to another real monitor down the line, you can use that. I'm not using the pass-through today, I'm just going to hook it up basic. So target side, I need Type-C and HDMI. And that guy goes over here and over here. Host side, I've got a decent USB 3 cable. So we're going to plug that into host side and over into the laptop. So one of the big selling points of this guy is that it doesn't need an installed app on your computer. However, if you rely on not installing an app, you need to use a web browser to view their website. Now this doesn't mean you're sending your data to them or anything, but you need to be able to load the web page, the JavaScript, etc. from their server over the internet. So if you're using this in like a data center environment or like a co-location or something like that where you're working on servers, you might not have access to Wi-Fi, as weird as that seems, especially if you're working in someone else's facility. So having a locally installed app, to me, is more of an advantage for these USB-based things than the network-based ones. Now, they still provide a desktop app, which I believe is running an Electron, so that's fine. Also, if you're going to rely on the web browser app, it only works in Google Chrome. So I can test what other Chromium-based browsers it works in, but it relies on Web Serial, which is something that Firefox does not support. So the browser software is open source here, NanoKVM USB. We can scroll down and we can download the desktop version or the browser version. So if I go to the browser version here in Safari, what do I get? Yep, we'll allow that. We're going to use USB 3 video. And serial not supported. Okay, so it doesn't work in Safari. I would like to point out, just a side fact, how much I hate how the entire web ecosystem is driven by Google Chrome, Google specifically. I know there's not much I can do about that as a person. I've been using Firefox for like 20 years now. Gosh, is it version like 2. I think it was version 3 I don't know, maybe 2006 or 7 I started using Firefox. So long time for me, but essentially web standards now are whatever Google says you need to support, you support. So it's kind of like back how it used to be in the Internet Explorer days. Microsoft would kind of make their own stuff and websites just kind of had to deal with it. So kind of unfortunate. In Google Chrome, so access microphone, access camera, USB 3 video, that looks right. Video device, select serial device. You're going to be probably USB serial, I'm going to guess. Let's try that one. I should probably turn the computer on now, so let's see what we get. You turned on? Oh yeah, you're turned on. That looks like it's working fine. Okay, it's working pretty well. So I got not bad latency. Windows wants to update. F off, F off. So if you've used Sipeed's other NanoKVM, the IP-based one, I've actually made 2 videos about it, but the most recent video is up here. This UI looks exactly the same to me. So we're working over the USB, but the options we have look pretty similar. Let's see, so resolution, device. So I can go up to 2560 by 1440. I'm defaulting to 1920 by 1080, very reasonable. Oops, choosing the serial port, I don't want to change that. Keyboard, I can do paste, control, delete. Mouse mode, settings. What does download do? Oh, download just takes me to the releases page. Nope, full screen. So I don't have quite as many features as I did in the IP version. Most notably, I can't do anything with ISOs. So because this is connected, even though it's USB 3, I'm connected over a virtual serial port, and it doesn't want to try to emulate like ISO or files or something. That's why I have the USB in the front. So before I go get a USB stick, I'm going to try the one feature I can do, which is copy and paste. So imagine I wanted to type out the script of the B movie here. I could hit paste. It says wants to see text, images, and clipboard. Yes, go ahead and allow that. There it goes. Is there any way to stop it? Looks like we're making some mistakes here, but I'm not sure if those are just part of the original or if it's just typing too fast. And maybe it wasn't the best idea to paste the entire script of the B movie in at once. It's going to be out here typing it for quite a long time, which is kind of unfortunate because I don't think I can cancel it. Some of the other KVMs have a limit of how much you can paste. This one does not appear to have a limit, which is a good thing, I guess, because you can paste big things. But it also means if you accidentally paste like a huge amount, it's going to be sitting here typing it out virtually for forever. Okay, this is actually getting kind of annoying, like 16,000 characters in. So while it's still typing, I guess it's time to show off the USB port. Basically the way this works is I plug this guy in here, and now I can choose between sending this USB port to my computer or to the victim. So I've got it flipped on to host right now with a little switch. And what do you know? Apple hard drive is here. So if I come over here and I flip the switch, it should just disappear from my Mac and show up on the victim. Ooh, select to choose what happens to removable drives. Maybe stop typing. Oh my God, now I'm typing in the middle. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Okay, so we got it to stop typing. Now Apple hard drive should have shown up somewhere here. Let's see. There it is. So I can take my B-movie script called new text document, and I can drag it into Apple hard drive. And then I can eject. Come over here, flip the switch back over. There it is again. And what do you know? We've got your text document. So with that feature, I should be able to install an operating system on this thing as well. So this has a Linux image on it. I don't remember which one, but we're going to try to boot this from the victim PC using our magic little center port here. So we got my Linux drive plugged into the center port. If you keep a copy of like Linux or Windows flash drives all day, you'll probably welcome this. If you don't, maybe having like a micro SD card would be nice. They actually make micro SD readers that fit into a USB port, so maybe you could just get one of those and put it in here, but that's how it works. So we're going to try to get this thing into the BIOS and get him booting off this drive now. Should I bring up the keyboard? I got an on-screen keyboard I can use here. I happen to know from past experience that the key is escape, so I'm going to try hitting escape on my Mac keyboard and see if it can capture that. And that's one of the keys that sometimes can't be captured very well, so let's see how that works. So I push the button, start hitting escape a bunch of times. Yep, there we go. Okay, we're in the BIOS. Don't quit. We want to go to boot override USB flash disk. There we go. And we're in. So that was pretty easy. It did exactly what it said it should. I'm booted into my USB stick. Again, since we have a USB connection to the PC, it'd be nice if we could provide ISOs from the PC. But I guess what you can do is get like a USB to SD card reader or a really small USB stick and just leave it in here. So you got options. Since they also have a desktop version, I am going to check that out as well. So they have, let's see what they got here. So they got ARM64 Mac, x86 to DMG. I wonder why these two are different. Well, they only got the combined DMG, Linux app image, setup.exe for Windows, browser.zip, and a deb version for Debian. That seems like a pretty complete set of operating systems. If you're running Linux, the app image should include everything you need. It's sort of like a container for desktop apps. Not quite the same as Flatpak, but works similarly. A Debian deb version is again fine, but again, I would use app image for stuff like this. It's easier. As for why they have 1, 2, 3 versions for macOS, I'm not sure, so I'm going to try the DMG. Normally in macOS, you do what Apple calls like a universal binary, which means it has binaries for both x86 and ARM64. For something like this, you could just have an x86 and rely on Rosetta, I guess. I have a ARM-based Mac, so let's see what we get. NanoKVM USB. NanoKVM USB. Yeah, looks right. Okay. Video, serial, and we're up. Let's see, here we go, full screen. It seems to be working just fine. Do we get any more options here? So I have resolution device, serial, keyboard, mouse, full screen or not, and okay, I have the option to check for updates. So that's pretty much all I get. Menu bar, language, okay. So not much more. So it looks like the desktop app is pretty much just the web app packaged in a desktop form factor, which is perfectly fine because you get a consistent experience whether you're installing the app or not installing it. Again, if you choose not to install it, you're currently stuck with Chrome. So let's see what other web browsers we can use. So first up, just vanilla Chromium. Yes, whatever, shut up. So I've seen some apps that use Web Serial, for example, check to see if the browser is Chrome instead of checking that Web Serial is supported. So I want to make sure this works on vanilla Chromium as well. Okay, serial device, looks like you're working fine. And there we go, Chromium works. Next up I got Opera. Now Opera for, I don't know, like 10 years now has been based on Chromium. So it's using the WebKit layout engine from Google Chrome. It's not exactly based on Chromium, it's based on WebKit, which is what Safari is based on, but Chromium is also based on WebKit, etc. As far as I know, nobody actually has a layout engine that's not based on WebKit, except for Firefox, which uses Gecko, and has used Gecko for like 30 years. Let's see, so video works. How about Serial? That's looking pretty promising too, okay. So we got Web Serial in Opera. And last one, Brave. And once again, everything is working fine. For some comparison, this is what happens in Firefox. So yes, use the microphone, yes, use the video, use the camera. And now we say Serial is not supported again, just like in Safari. So in addition to their hosted browser version, they also provide the browser version as a zip file and a deployment guide. So they have an example here with Node.js and Python, but really all we need to do is host this zip file somewhere on the internet. So it looks like this is the zip file. Let's see what's inside. So we have an icon, an HTML, and JavaScript and a CSS. So they must be compiling it all down into just this. So their browser-based files are entirely self-contained. There's just an HTML page and JavaScript, and everything is done in browser by that JavaScript. So we just need to host these 4 files somewhere on the internet where we can access them. If you want to host it within your own network or your home lab, you can do that with any web server, Nginx, Caddy. Caddy is a really easy choice to use. So I'm going to set up a Caddy web server just to see how to do that. Now Caddy has quite a few ways to install it. You can just download a static binary, you can get packages for Ubuntu, Debian, etc. All that good stuff. I am going to be using it on Debian, so I'm going to copy and paste this guy. Next up, I'm going to need this link. So download it to var USB KVM, and we'll download that zip. Okay, so now this is our path, and we can put it right here. We'll just be hosting on port 80 right now. I guess we could do 443 also. Can't find my camera. I wonder why. Okay, so it needs HTTPS to work. So Caddy by default doesn't do a self-signed cert, and you can't do a self-signed cert without a name. So you either need to have an IP address as the name or a URL as the name. And it seems like the web browser doesn't want to allow you to share video with a plain IP address over HTTP. So it's probably a security feature that these things just aren't allowed over HTTP, but makes sense, I guess. And serial, and we're in. So we're self-hosted here. I had to put my IP address in the Caddy file, so it could generate a cert for itself under the IP address, but if you have a domain name, you could use that too. So one more thing I want to test, since this guy shows up as USB video, can I record him in OBS while also working with him in the web browser? Let's see. So here's me. This is literally what you guys are seeing right now. So I flip over to you. Can I set up video capture on USB video? Okay, so I forced him to 1080p 30. Could we do 60? Yeah, we do 60, okay. So now he's showing up here. Looks like I can still come over here and connect in Chromium. So that's working great. Now I seem to have a bit more lag now than I did before when I'm capturing. So I'm wondering if OBS is doing something with that, but that makes sense. It's fine. So Sipeed NanoKVM USB. What do I think? Starting off, this guy is USB based. He shows up as USB video, makes him very easy to capture in OBS. Something I like with the work that I do. I understand many of you probably don't work with new mini PCs like almost every day, but if you work in a thing with a lot of single board computers, a lot of servers, you probably have similar needs to me, I think. So being a USB based product, this is more for people who are actually working on the computer physically with their laptop. This is not for the people that want remote access. For that, you want one of the IP-based systems. Did a full comparison up here, or maybe I actually already linked that video, whatever. So being USB-based, it also has much less access to data. It's not connected to the internet, so this is only showing up as a serial port and a USB video on your computer. So it has much less access to send your data somewhere to do sketchy things, connect out to the internet for updates, etc. Now, one big selling point people have told me is that you don't need an app on your computer, and that's true, but with an asterisk. I really want to point out that if you choose not to install the app on your computer, you're now dependent on the cloud service being available. Now this doesn't mean that you have to send data to the cloud service, but it means you have to have an internet connection wherever you're going. So I think for most people, the trade-off of downloading the Electron app and running it is probably what they're going to end up doing anyway and not using the web-based version. But that's just me. That's what I would be doing. If I was taking my laptop out in the field into places where I needed to access computers, I would want to have the software installed on the computer. Now as for pricing, this guy is currently in pre-order. The pre-order prices for this guy are $41 for the guy by itself, or $51 with a toolkit. So that includes a carrying case and cables. Now I think for an extra 10 bucks, cables are totally worth it. Bringing your own cables is never going to be as good as getting the ones that come with it, especially because they're so short and they're all the same length and they fit nicely in the carrying case. So if you're the kind of person that's actually using this day to day, I would definitely get the carrying case and get the toolkit. So comparing the price of this guy to two of the other guys on the market, so the Kiwi KVM, I just did a review on this pretty recently. That guy is 69 bucks for the base version, which has essentially the same feature set as this. Now the Kiwi has a different way of handling USB that might be better for some of you using this USB port. Again, it depends on what you're doing, depends on where the software goes. That guy is 69 bucks, including cables. There's also the open interface, which I reviewed on. That's like 2 years ago now, probably video on that one up here as well. I've really liked the open interface in the 2 years I've been using it. That guy is currently selling for $95 or $129 with the case. I have the one with the case. I love it. It came with very nice cables. Can't say I've tested the cables that came with this because they only sent me the unit, not the cables, but the pictures look decent. So as for feature set, this guy provides everything I would need. So I'm capturing from the target computer, 1920 by 1080. I'm not using higher resolutions than that because I'm working with uploading videos to YouTube. If I try to upload a 4K video to YouTube with a 4K Windows desktop, you guys won't be able to read anything. Even when I go down to like 200% scaling, it still looks kind of crap. So I tend to work at lower resolutions than you probably do. I don't think I actually own anything higher than 1080p anyway, so that's what I work at. Now this does claim that it can do 4K pass-through, so that means that you connect 4K HDMI in, 4K HDMI out, you capture at half resolution, which is 1080p. So I didn't test that either. I mean, I guess I could, but I didn't. So that's just not an important feature to me. If I'm working with target PCs like this all day, I'm not running them at super high resolution. I'm trying to get something done. So you do you. Now, I didn't have any problems with any of the features of the device. Now, it's not advertised to have that many features, to be fair. So you have HDMI in, that works fine, 1080p to the computer. We have keyboard and mouse emulation, works fine. I can get in the BIOS, I can work in the BIOS. Some capture devices struggle if the BIOS changes resolution on you. This one didn't have any problems with that, so that's what I can say, I guess. Now, that's basically where the feature set ends. So there's no advanced features like ISO mounting or things like that. The Kiwi, for example, has the ability to share files from your local system to the target. This doesn't have that. You plug the flash drive in, you let the flash drive do the work. It's a reasonable trade-off for a device at this price point, I think. I would still like to see someone be able to mount an ISO for my computer, but no one can do that yet, so it is what it is. I also apologize to you guys. My GPON video, passive optical networking, that was supposed to come out today, but it's been delayed a couple days due to some editing time. So I put this video together first. That video will come out next week, so stick with me on that. If you guys want to chat with me about this or anything else, I got links down in the description where you can find this. It's currently showing up as pre-sale only, although quite a few people have them. So I'm wondering if they're shipping pre-sales already. I'm not sure. I know they told me the Pro version was not for sale yet. I can't find any documentation on this. I'm actually not sure what is different about the Pro, other than the fact that it says Pro on it. So I didn't try it, but I have Pro. The regular version seems to work just fine for me. I don't know what other features you would need, but whatever. Maybe I should plug the Pro in. Why don't I plug the Pro in and see what happens? So I'm not sure what's different about the Pro version. Nothing seems different on my end. I guess if I ever figure that out, I'll update you guys down in the description. What else? I have a Ko-fi. If you guys want to give me tips for making projects like this, I greatly appreciate that. Link down below. If you guys want to chat with me, Discord server, link down below for that as well. If you want to follow me, you can follow me here on YouTube. I also have a website where I post more technical details. I didn't have any for this, but sometimes I make a blog post with like the Linux commands and things like that. I'm also on Mastodon, which is kind of like the Deadbird site, but not. Follow me there as well. And I guess I'll see you guys on the next adventure.